Remember when you'd go back to school and the teacher made you write out what you did for your summer vacation? Well, here's what I did. The 3 R's.
Look at this.
Rot, more rot,
The roof is totally shot.
and renovation.
The crew has arrived.
And a couple months later, I am pleased to report that at the end of last week, the crew was finally able to take their tools home and get off the island. And that means I can finally show you the results. We're starting with the guest bedroom, the bathroom, and the bunkie. Today is reveal day.
I'm Sarah, and every day my life revolves around design. This is my journal of what's happening right now in my world as a creator, an entrepreneur, a partner, and a mom. And I'm sharing it with you. So let's go. Today is another chapter in my design life.
When it comes to guest rooms, I am a true believer that they should have everything you need and nothing you don't. I also think you should know your audience. And why do I say that? Well, because after years and years of using this room as a guest room, I realized something. It was rarely slept in by 2 people. It was usually occupied by 1 person. And we'd had years, this is a very compact room, and we'd had years of teeny tiny narrow side tables, and the room always felt cramped. So I thought, hey, if this room is almost always occupied by 1 person, why not slide the bed over to one side and have 1 good size bedside table? Now the room has much more space to walk around. And you can't talk about guest rooms without a guest, so look who's here.
Sarah, as a designer, is constantly bettering herself. So every iteration of her own homes, when they go through another transformation, those iterations and those new versions of things are always improved upon because she's so thoughtful about her process. When she looks at a guest room, she's examining the redesign of that space with all of the knowledge of the questions that she's asked prior guests, the things that have come up. And so yeah, it's better, but it's still the same. It's still the same place. It still has all of the sentimentality, all of the family memories. Just gets better with age.
Here's a couple things I did in this room. Instead of wasting precious floor space with a big bed frame, I decided to go with a wall mount headboard panel that runs from side to side. So it's just one continuous swath of fabric. And this is a playful fabric, and it's all in greens. And one of the key things when you're in this room is that you look out to the grass, to the trees, and to the lichen growing on the rocks. So I always found that green was the absolute perfect starting point for the foundation of a color palette in this room. The side table is something that I picked up for a deal. It was $60 in rattan, and for quite a while we used it as a side table in the living room. When I replaced the side tables in the living room, presto, this one became available. The dresser is repurposed from the cabin or the bunkie, call it whatever you want. Nobody ever used it out there, and it took up too much space and just didn't work with the new layout, so it found a new home here. Above the dresser, you'll see that there is a woven mirror. And what's interesting about this is a story about mixing materials, but creating harmony because they are the exact same color palette. If you're wondering how best can I mix an antique pine dresser with a different mirror, look at how this works. The woven mirror and the antique pine dresser are the exact same tone, so it's really harmonious. And I always like the look of a round mirror on top of a dresser. It creates this balance between the boxy shape of the dresser and the softness of the circle. It's a nice mix, and also it creates a tapered effect from the wide dresser below to a narrow mirror sitting above it. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. Key things that are important to me when it comes to a guest room: you need to have a comfortable bed. A comfortable mattress is the most important starting point. Soft pillows. I like a combination of 1 foam pillow and 1 down or down alternative pillow. And that means that if somebody wants a soft pillow or a more firm pillow, they're gonna have a good night's sleep. The last thing you want is tired guests who didn't sleep well. How do you ensure a good night's sleep? Great sheets. Sheets don't have to be super expensive, but they do need to be soft and silky to the touch, and I like them to be natural material. These are actually bamboo sheets from my own collection, and they are just so cool and smooth and soft. And one of the really fun finishing touches in this room, I was on a shoot for one of my partners, for Marcel, and we were shooting at the Four Seasons Hotel in Toronto, and I saw these great shams which were embroidered with the logo from the hotel chain. As a treat, my client bought and gave me a pair of the shams, and I just thought, how fun would it be if a guest room at the cottage had shams from the Four Seasons Hotel?
What I love is change. I love evolution. And I think it's something that's built into me as a designer, and it's definitely something that's built into Sarah as a designer, and it's why we work together so well. We know that a good house is never finished. And the reason is you change over time. Your family evolves and grows over time. So the changes that have happened here over the years are important changes in the sense that they just make this place a better place to receive guests.
Cottages are all about sharing experiences, sharing adventures, great meals, and in most cases, a lot of people sharing a bathroom, and this cottage is no exception. We have 5 bedrooms and we have 1 full bathroom and a water closet. So when it's a full house, this can be a crowded and popular destination. So if you're dealing with a single bathroom and a small space, you need it to be as efficient as possible. And I always thought I loved our bathroom the way it was. And something to remember when you're renovating is you need to make sure that you are making classic decisions, timeless decisions, and selecting materials you love that will last for the long haul. Why am I saying this? Because everything I installed 11 years ago here when we first renovated, I still love. I love the tile. I love the Ming green split face wall that runs behind the bathtub, the white milk glass tile in the shower with the band of Bardillo and Ming green just as an accent, the Calacatta Visione honed floor that's on the main bathroom floor, and the pebble floor that's in the shower. Check, 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 check. I still am 100% double thumbs up on every single one of these choices. And that's important because when it comes to renovating, the expensive elements are the installed ones. So make sure you spend the time, think about it, agonize over those tile decisions, as you know I do, and then you'll be set for the long haul. But then let's talk about how can you refresh? How can you change it after more than a decade? If you feel that you want it to feel ever so slightly different, yes, you can make it feel completely different without renovating. Let's talk about a few little things that we did in this bathroom that made a huge impact. I always thought that the original vanity was great. And when we did this cottage, I was 8 months pregnant with a toddler and shooting another TV show back in the city. So to say that Alex and I had a lot on our plates back then was an understatement. Really, nothing's changed. We're still busier than ever, but the vanity we had before was a plant stand that I found and I turned it into a vanity. And at the time, it was the best solution. Look how cute it was. However, in the new iteration of the cottage, I really just wanted things to feel a little bit crisper and a bit more streamlined. So I opted for this vanity, which has storage. It has a very simple profile. It's a shaker drawer, just 2 big drawers. Tons of storage. You can add your own hardware. It came completely assembled as a wall-hung vanity with a sink and counter already installed. Easy peasy. Couldn't have been more simple. Well, until we tried to install it. Getting the backsplash off from the old vanity proved to be a bit of a challenge. I hear it. Oh God, well, we've now wrecked the wall. However, Chris persevered and voila, we have a new vanity. And I'm so glad we do because it just feels a bit more crisp. I didn't change any of the plumbing fixtures, the original tub filler, the shower system, and even the lavatory faucet. Well, I changed one tiny thing. These faucets All the plumbing fixtures in here are 11 years old, but this particular design is still being manufactured. So I kept the handles and all I got was a new spout. And it changes the look of this vanity, makes it better, but let's talk about how to stretch your dollar as far as you possibly can and change only what you need to and nothing else. I swapped out the hooks. These are really, really, really neat. I want to show you something because I have one that I haven't installed yet. Look at these hooks. I absolutely think they're fantastic. They're made of solid marble and they just screw into the wall. So this is a great solution, whether you want to use them in your bathroom or you could install them in a mudroom, in a bedroom, so many places that these offer great storage. And what I like about hooks in a bathroom is when you've got 5 bedrooms and lots of people sharing one bathroom, you know what there are? Lots of towels. And nobody is taking the time to fold them up and lovingly hang them over a towel bar. So let's skip that. Let's not pretend anybody's going to, and let's just give everybody hooks. It makes it easy, you know which hook is yours, and everyone can keep organized. And none of the towels end up on the floor. Well, at least I hope they don't. What else do I need to tell you about here? I changed the light fixture. The key is here in this bathroom, this is about little changes that make a big difference. I changed the art, I changed the light fixture, I changed the mirror, I changed the vanity. And that's really about it. What I want you to see and be inspired by with this bathroom is if you make the right choices the first time in the fixed elements, in the tile, and the parts that you can't change, things like the layout, it's easy to adapt it for the future and make it work to suit your tastes as they change and grow. And next up, the new and improved Bunkie. Welcome to the Bunkie, new and improved. Nothing much changed when it came to the structure of this building. In fact, nothing about the structure changed. We restained the interior, and the game changer in the Sarah's Island 2.0 reimagining of this Bunkie is all about the furniture. After more than a decade, we had the opportunity to think about how to make it work a little bit better. Let me tell you a story. This Bunkie came to be because I grew up going to grandparents' cottages that had tiny sleeping cabins on them. And they were such special places and they had such a special sentimental spot in my heart that I really wanted to be able to build one on our little island. And as luck happened, I happened to have some old windows. Well, they weren't that old. They'd never been used outside, and they were left over from an install I'd done at the interior design show. So I had windows and a door, and that allowed us to have all of the fenestration we needed to build this teeny tiny little cabin or bunkie. Call it whatever you will. A bunkie is a really unique structure. It's removed from the main house and it's a standalone building that is just a bedroom. And how dreamy is that to have your bedroom removed from everything else? You can go to bed when you want, you can wake up when you want, and you can be completely oblivious to what is happening in the cottage. I think that is the ultimate guest experience.
My favorite thing about coming here is how rested I feel as soon as I get here. I think that has a lot to do with a few different factors. First of all, my hosts are easy and I never feel I'm in the way or I'm a bother, which makes me immediately feel relaxed. But it's also the physical things that you encounter when you come here. It is the incredible mattress that I sleep on in the Bunkie whenever I sleep here on the island. It's the ability to open the windows and have that cross breeze from the lake and the winds that are so special to this part of the world.
The other thing that makes this Bunkie the ultimate guest experience is it has windows on all 4 sides and it has some pretty sweet views, if I do say so myself. I mean, hello, morning dip, water right there. It couldn't get any closer. Well, in fact, we hope it doesn't get any closer because the water is so high right now that the waves are basically crashing at the side of the building. But it does make for a very nature-inspired deep sleep. Here's the thing, when we were doing the original Bunkie, I ran around and I bought a bunch of furniture and the size of it was kind of in flux at the time and I just assumed everything would fit. Well, I had left the island to deliver a baby by the time the room got assembled, and the bedside tables were a bit too big, and so my original furniture plan didn't work. Here we are 11 years later, and the furniture is exactly where I originally wanted it to be, because we got all new furniture. I got rid of the 4-poster bed, which I always loved. I thought it was charming and lovely and sweet and wonderful, but you know what? It took up a whole lot of space, and it's space that we didn't have. If you have oodles of space and a giant bedroom, by all means get a big hulking bed that makes a big statement. However, if you're tight on space, I recommend trying to keep all of your furniture as streamlined as possible. So in this case, we now have a mattress, no box spring, sitting on a bed base. You can just order these bases online. They will ship directly to you at no charge. One of the best things about them is you can choose a wood finish that ties together with the rest of the room. In this case, I chose a wood finish that ties together with the floor. So it's a really nice, seamless transition. What I really like about this bed frame is that it has a tall leg. So if your guests come with bags that they want to stash away during their stay, they can just tuck right underneath the bed. At this point, every single bedroom in the cottage has an upholstered headboard panel that mounts to the wall or mounts directly to the bed frame. In this case, it's a channel headboard covered in cream linen, and this means that it sits beautifully below the transom window that sits above the bed. So you can have light streaming in over your head, but don't worry, if you like to sleep in, this is north light, so you are not getting woken up at an unreasonably early hour in this cabin. In fact, I will say, everybody who sleeps here sleeps in. We have no problems with early risers. By getting rid of the original bed frame, it allowed me to move the bed onto the north wall where I always imagined the bed would be. And these bedside tables used to be in our house in the city. They were a pale gray, and I had them resprayed in this really yummy, rich blue. And the thing I like about them, and the reason I wanted to bring them here, is this carved detail on the bases. It looks like waves to me, and I thought they were perfectly appropriate. People don't need storage in here. They don't need extraneous stuff. They just need a nice big surface where they can lay everything out. Originally, this room felt a little bit softer, maybe you'd say more romantic, definitely more feminine, and I wanted to change it up. I wanted it to be a bit more contemporary, and as soon as I found this fabric, this is a cravat fabric printed on linen. To me, it felt like summer. Does it feel like paper airplanes? Does it feel like sailboats? I don't know, but to me, it felt perfectly appropriate to a room on the water, and it's this layered palette of many different shades of blue that all work together. So in thinking about what I wanted to have for my guests, I wanted to make sure there was a surface. There's a certain group of people that are regulars in this cabin, and so if you have a guest room that is commonly being used by the same people over and over again, I encourage you to think about what they need. How would they feel most comfortable in this room? And I decided a desk would be the solution. We have lots of people that come and are here for a getaway, but might still need to stay connected and might still want to use their laptop.
Oh.
So therefore, this little desk that sits at the foot of the bed offers just that space.
This is the manager of the pub next door to my apartment. Hello?
Whether you want to use it as a dressing table, whether you want to use it as a place to lay out your stuff, or as a desk, it can be any one of these functions.
You know, being up here for 2 days is proof positive that the world cannot function without me. Like, it's just, it proves itself every time.
This room also gets to act as a little getaway office for Alex or for me when we need it, because sometimes we need to take a conference call or spend some really focused time doing work, and this is that getaway. You can close the door, you can close the windows, and you can be in here and really focus. So this room is now one part ultimate guest escape and one part home office for us, so we can get the job done even when we're here in our favorite place.